he released a trailer on his YouTube channel, a trailer showing us this.
The mind.
Computer in every home, business, and school.
And as if I wasn't hyped already talking about the first game's lore, I'm even more excited to talk about this one. After around 4 years of silence towards anything No Players Online related on Adam's itch.io page, some people would have thought Adam simply moved on to the next of his projects, without looking back. And for the most part, that's what happened, until April 2nd of this year. A YouTube video was uploaded to Adam's channel, No Players Online announcement trailer. This was a huge announcement, a direct follow-up to Adam's hit, Adam Pipe, Thibaut van de Broek, and Victor Kraus. These three here to continue Adam's work from his previous title. And 8 days after this video, a download link to the demo was public on Adam's itch.io page. On April 10th, the demo was available, and it begins like this. After booting up the game, we are left in a floating void with only a flag in front of us. This flag immediately reminding us of our journey through the previous game. If we walk up to this, it starts to glow, much like the one we found in the void in the previous game, and then launches across the void as we fade to a familiar gorge. I'm saying gorge now because we find out later on that this map is called the Gorge. We get a new intro sequence that introduces us to our team behind this game. If we walk forward, we see that familiar red glow that brings us back to our very first playthrough. If we keep walking, we'll eventually get this. And then a black screen. A new operating system, one reading Ment Sierra Systems MC93 Home Edition. Now, after my extensive research, Ment Sierra Systems is, of course, not real, but we do see something new. Home Edition implies that this PC is being accessed from a home, different to the original intro that showed us MS-BOS operating system. An operating system being the software that supports a computer's basic functions. Remember this later because it'll tie back into my theory for the games. And once we open the computer, we make another revelation. This home computer belongs to John Mullard and his now wife named Sarah. For right now, we're only able to log in as a guest, so once we get in, we can start exploring this PC. We can see a few things present just here on the home screen. files, internet, audio player, some type of chat system, text, settings, and MindFriend. But something of note is that on the clock on the top right of the screen, it tells us that the year is 1993. And the last date we got from this series was almost 20 years ago, March of 1975. We can explore this PC further and find a gaming forum, Game Create. Here we have 5 sections to the forum. Forums, of course, being much more common in the early stages of the internet. And we can explore the first section with 4 pages available to us. The pages being rules, post introductions here, update on post disappearing, and post disappearing. So let's go through all of these. The rules section being the rules. What else did you think it'd be? After that, we have the post introductions here page. Names of note can be seen on the left side. Scrolling down, we have one that is important to us. Name, John Mullard. Bio, ex-researcher at Rheinisches Volksinstitut. Likes, occult and esoteric belief. History, graphic engineering. Finally, some background to the man who has been the only person with us this whole time. The 2 things that should stick out are the bio and the likes section. What is Rheinisches Volksinstitut? John is into the occult and esoteric belief, and let's just keep this in mind for now. If we proceed to the next page, we get an update to post disappearing. The admin of this forum, Sergeant Destroyer 2, informs us that the location where the server was hosted caught fire, which seemingly is causing some of the posts to disappear. We can read the forum's reactions to this news, some being more disapproving of others. And proceeding to the final page, post disappearing, we can read this important message. This morning, we noticed a big chunk of the posts in our forum have disappeared. We know this must come as a shock to all of you. We are currently looking for what happened, and will update you all once we find out more. This giving us more parts to what seems to be a random occurrence that led to disaster. For now, let's proceed to the game releases and work in progresses. We can get access to 2 true Game of the Year award competitors, Fishing with Knives 2 and 20 Summer Days. One's a simple 2D hack and slash in which you simply kill more fish to unlock more prizes, and so of course, I had to absolutely fuck those fish up. And the other being a dating sim. One that, unfortunately, you have to download a pirated version of. If we open this up, we get this. Finally, a dating sim on this website. My name is Park Sung Lee. Press the spacebar to... Oh god, this is gonna be terrible. 2nd of August 1989, Kyung Lee University, sometime in the afternoon. Why did I think this was a good idea to sign up for the summer program? My name is Park Sung Lee, 23 years old. I'm a master's student in the true sense of the word. I can't remember the last time I didn't have to attend some lecture or study for some exam, and even though it's summer, I find myself once again in a classroom. Next summer I should focus on myself, spend some quality time doing nothing for a change. Wait, I forgot I have to write my thesis next year. Okay, those are worries for later. Let's just try to sit through this class first. Mr. Park, stop daydreaming and pay attention. Use the arrow keys to move the story reticle. When the reticle becomes yellow, use the spacebar to interact with the story element. I think this guy's dozing off. You, can I do something with you? Mr. Song is going over the same chapter we did last week. I think nobody has the courage to tell him, not the Shikurum. Okay, it's pretty misty out. It'll probably rain later. Guess it's still the season. Ugh, I'm so sleepy. I shouldn't have gotten that dorm room. It's always so loud there at night. At least it's nice and quiet in here. Maybe I can just close my eyes for a little bit. Wake up, sleepyhead. Oh, it's a woman. I think your class ended an hour ago, silly. Shoot, did I just sleep through the whole class? Join the student council. Become a part of history at Kyungli. It's a payphone. Make a call? Sure. You put in 51 coin. Let's call her mom. Beep, beep, beep. Hello? This is the Park household. Hey mom, it's me. So, now you can call me? I don't hear anything from you all summer and now you call me? Sorry mom, I've just been busy with the program. And are you studying hard? Don't go wasting your time on drinking. I'm not drinking, mom. I'm just calling to say hi. You just called to say hi? You should be studying. Are you eating enough? You're not eating enough, are you? Okay, bye mom. I'll call you later. I have to go to class. That was pleasant. Can I call another person? You're all out of quarters. I thought they were won coins. Head for your dorm? Yes. Man, I'm so tired. That nap didn't help at all. I should probably get to some coffee once I get to my dorm. Lots of these have been starting to pop up around the area. I can't read. Hi there. Welcome to Best Coffee. Can I help you? Oh, it's you. Getting some coffee, sleepyhead? It's the girl from before. Oh, hey, yeah, I wanted to get some coffee. I mean, of course I did. I'm here, right? Man, get it together. This is so stupid. Haha, you're such a dork. What can I get you? I'll get an Americano, please. Iced or hot? Oh, ice, please. Wait, no, hot. Okay, one hot Americano coming right up. Why'd you order hot coffee? She turns around and starts making the coffee. Should I ask for her number? Sure, let's ask. Here's your coffee, sir. That'll be 2001. Oh, thanks. Here you go. Wait, I was wondering, do you have a phone? Of course I do, silly. How else would I call my friends? Anyways, I gotta take care of these other customers now. Have a nice day. Wait, never mind. Guess I should head to my dorm. Are you fucking serious, dude? I literally pressed yes. That was annoying. Oh, she left me her number. There's something written on the side of the napkin. It's the girl's number. I should call her right away. ... Wait, I don't have a phone here. I'll head back out to the campus and call her from there. Beep. 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 Hello? This is Min-hee. Hey, this is Song Lee. Who? I don't know any Song Lee. Oh, I'm the guy from the cafe. Haha, I'm just messing with you. It's nice to hear from you. For a minute I thought you'd forgotten about me. I don't give my number out to just anyone, you know. Of course, I remember you. Hey, so tonight I'm hanging out with some friends at their dorm. I was wondering, are you asking me out on a date? Well, yes, I think so. Ah, fuck. Haha. Ha 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 ha. You think I would go on a date with a dirty little thief? What the fuck? What did we do? It's true, I deserve no love. Why would anyone love someone who willingly downloads illegal software? What the fuck? And because we got a pirated version of this game, we got one of my favorite non-intended horrifying things. video game anti-piracy screens. Now, I'd like to take another few minutes to talk about another YouTube video that I got in my recommended. One night, while I was scrolling through YouTube, a video caught my eye. That video was this one.
Oh, I've been married a long time.
But right underneath that one was this. Anti-piracy screens are unnerving. But why? This is a great video by Gearisko. It talks about the eeriness that comes with these screens. Screens that, for the most part, were never meant to be seen. Usually only by like the 1% of the 1% of people who actively pirate games and movies. A few days after initially seeing this video, I eventually watched it with my siblings and got reminded of the bootleg DVDs that my parents would buy from the flea market. Those old memories gave me the same feeling that these piracy screens gave me. All this to say that the screen most definitely frightened me here. Back to the video. After that, I decided to go through the feedback and help and off-topic sections, and read some of the stuff there. You can find a conversation that doesn't really add anything, but I think is pretty funny. I made this song for my next game, Fishing with Knives 2. I'd like some feedback on it. Not! I don't value any of your opinions. Just tell me if it's good and move on. I listened to both of their songs, reminding us that there are people with actual talent on this forum. And people with not After that, I then proceeded to finally check the world chat, as in this footage, I realized I didn't even fully notice the friend request sent to me. Once I checked it later on, though, we see the friend request is from one Quinn Win, and then this conversation happens. And like that, our first tied directly back into the first game. The same capture the flag we all know. If we proceed to play, all the same staples we know happen once again, until the final flag. We run back to place the final flag down and no interruptions. No John here to stop us. Of course, how would we get John interrupting us if we're on his computer? Wait. What just happened? The game crashes and we get this message. And after that, I went to go look up what bereavement meant because I didn't know. And I was reassured that this message is about John. But once we press OK, well, we're now locked out. In fact, it seems to have the same type of glitching as the missing post. This will be more important. For now, what the hell do we do? And at this time, playing through the game for the very first time, I had no idea. But after revisiting, I noticed something. Something that, in hindsight, was really fucking obvious. Letters will start to pop up on our screen. 11 letters, spelling out John Mullard's favorite word, sentimental. This being our password to his personal account. And once we're in, we can see a few notable changes to the home screen. 3 big sections reading work, research, and corkboard. We can see in the top left our first look at anyone in this series. A photo reading J plus S 1968, John and Sarah. And the next one to the right of it reads Regensburg, Austria, 71. And the final one, it's cut off, but due to our previous knowledge, we can fill it in. Rheinisches Volksinstitut, the place John used to work at based on the bio we found earlier. He was an ex-researcher here, which means something must have happened to get him to quit. In that same bio, it said that John joined the forum April 24th, 1971, the same year that that photo in Austria was taken. Maybe this could mean John quit to spend more time with his wife, because in that photo a woman is pictured. Unfortunately, this is the only photo without a year to go with it, giving us an incomplete timeline of events right now. If we check the computer further, we can find a research section, one that contains something called Soul Transfer, and a folder called Soul Transfer Dev. If we search the folder, we can find a few files that give us a clear timeline of events. So we can see that John started documenting this research all the way back in 1965, this being a full 28 years before we get a hold of this computer. In the final 1968 devlogs, John states that he's getting married soon and won't be able to continue his research further. This also supporting my theory that John had quit his job to spend more time with his wife. Although these notes are from the 60s, and the computer itself says that it was last used 6 months ago, which means John would have had to still been alive at least 6 months ago. Once we read through the full thing, we get a clearer image that John was actively researching and developing a system to harness the souls of other games from rival companies, because Inuit seem to be game developers located in Germany, according to the .de we can find in John's email. This company looks like they had been trying to make a game to compete with the market, with using the souls of what seemed to be hundreds of games available online, because John says that he would have deleted dozens of games if it weren't for the fact that editing the infused games doesn't interfere with the base games. After the devlogs, we look at the README file. We can find something important. Rheinish's Volksinstitut Department of Esoteric Research, Muller et al., 1963 to 1968. Now, why would Rheinish's Volksinstitut have an esoteric research department? Rheinish's being the previous workplace of John, of course. Potentially, after working with Rheinish's, this could mean John could have started up his own business with his previous knowledge. If we look at this file, it instructs us how to use the soul transfer system on the PC. An important note at the bottom reads, "Opening the game immediately will allow the souls to do whatever they want with it. It's best to open the game through the editor and implement mechanics manually." This is giving us some idea of how the system operates. If we read through different versions, we can see how John progresses through these years developing the system. Version 0.0.21, saying that it contains basic functionality, although extracted applications are unstable at best. And comparing that to version 0.6.08, where it tells us in full that John had managed to stabilize combining games. No more crashing, adding an infusing tab to streamline sigil reinforcement, and this could possibly serve as a potential base for John's own game. And him stating that this is the last update while he focuses on engine research. This last update supposedly meaning that John's engine research went well, if the capture the flag is anything to show for it. After reading this, I started to go through John's old messages. 4 names of note here: Inuit Sabine, Marco B, Quinn Wynn, and Winston H. Richmond. In the messages with Inuit Sabine, who seems to be another researcher along with John, we can read, "Any progress on the no-clip bug? No, it's incredibly hard to replicate. I'll check around and see if anyone recorded a video. Don't worry about it. Just move on to the other stuff if you can't replicate it. Alright, the concept art for the forest map should almost be done. Perfect. I'll get a meeting set up with the designers so we can start on the map. Thank you." Sabine seems to have been a developer alongside John. Saying that the concept art for a new map should almost be done could mean she could have been a sort of art director. Moving on to the next messages with Marco B. These read, "Really like the alpha test, John. When you told me you'd do 3D graphics, I gotta be honest, I didn't believe you. I told you I could do it. You should stop doubting me so much. I'm sorry. Any plans for a release? I'm not too sure yet. We've gotten some good feedback from this alpha test. We just have to put that to good use. Alright. If you ever need someone to play with, shoot me a message." Marco looks like he could have been potentially a friend of John's. He speaks to him in a more friendly manner than Sabine did. He also says that he enjoyed the alpha test of Capture the Flag, which means this release initially was very well received by many people. Going on to the next person, this one should ring a bell. Quinn Wynn was the user who messaged us and sent us the Capture the Flag alpha. Their messages read, "Hey, I just wanted to say I really like the alpha test of your game. Glad to hear that. If you discover any bugs, feel free to let me know. Hey, John, how's development of the game going? Hey, John, me and some other people are still playing the alpha version of the game and are loving it. Can't wait for another official playtest." Quinn was obviously a fan of John's work, but something's weird. Why would Quinn send the guest account this game? He wasn't even on the game when we booted it up for the first time. Why would he send us this obviously broken game? And no less to a random person. He says it was because he wanted anyone to play this game with. But was that the real reason? If we move on to the final set of messages, we can find Winston H. Richmond. Hey, John, it's Winston H. Richmond from howtowinston.richmond.org. I played your game and I'm beyond surprised. Anywa's engine is miles ahead of its competition. 3D graphics? I mean, wow, just wow. Let's sit down sometime in the future and talk about working together. I'm available this Friday. I'm also available this Friday. Hey, John, I'm just checking back in with you. Maybe you missed my last message? Would love to talk to you about what we can do for each other. Hey, John, I'll be out of office for the foreseeable future. Some government issues. For some reason, they're convinced I'm evading taxes. Now, this isn't really important, except for one thing. Winston says that Inuit's engine is miles ahead of its competition, which means John's engine research apparently went really well. After this, I proceeded to read through the file explorer. The one of note in here is the README available for the Capture the Flag game. It's this that shows us the copyright and the year, 1973, meaning that the Capture the Flag game had released in 1973, 5 years after John had initially stopped his research for the Soul Transfer. This adding on to the theory that Inuit Games is owned by John, with the final folder of importance, pictures. If we can check the My Scans section, we can find 4 scans, 2 being in a folder named Sarah, and 2 being out in the open. If we look at scan_017.image, we can find a familiar bridge, similar to the one in the i.exe program. If we look at scan_18.image, we can see what looks like to be a photo from the bridge looking at what seems to be John and Sarah's house. Opening the Sarah folder, we can find scans_23 and _24. 023 looks like an image of a mountainside behind a lake of water during the night, and 024 looking identical to 018. But this image gives me an idea. If these were in the Sarah folder, these 2 images could have been hand-painted images, tying back into the theory that John has something to do with painting, and more specifically, John's wife, Sarah. Okay, so while I'm editing this, I checked Adam's Twitter page, and I was definitely right about this, because there is a video that shows this. And that definitely says Sarah, so I was correct about this, but it'll tie back in later. Back to the video. With all this knowledge we now have, we could perhaps try to follow the instructions for the soul transfer to achieve some sort of result. If we extract all the games available to us, we could combine the games and try to achieve different results. First, I combine Mindfriend and Fishing with Knives 2. Combining these two gets what I will dub Fishing with Minds 2. Instead of fish roaming these waters, it is instead filled to the brim with mines. But if we reach the bottom of this water, we can see a familiar face. Before the game crashes. Moving on to the next set of games, we can combine Mindfriend and 20 Summer Days. I shall dub this one 20 Days with Mindfriend. And this one was a pain in the fucking ass. Now, little known fact, I have never, ever beaten, or really even played Minesweeper. Okay, let's do this. Fuck. So, all the info I had to win this game was the numbers tell you how many bombs are touching the block, and don't break a block with a mine on it. So, I started placing flags and mining blocks for 40 fucking minutes straight. And I'm not kidding. Here's the footage sped up so that you can see. It literally took me 40 fucking minutes to beat this game. Eventually, from the combined power of me, my brother, and my sister's moral support, we eventually beat it. And by we, I mean mostly my brother. But I did make the last call. And I spent all this time trying to win and find something similar to what Fishing with Mines 2 had, but to no avail. Except, while I was recording this, I had noticed something. Mindfriend has two forms of dialogue. One with what seems to be automated text that is easy to read, and glitch text similar to the one from the forum that seems to be an actual person. Going through and reading it all gives us this text. When asked, "What are your values?" I really care about my work. It's an outlet for me. When asked if you are afraid of dying, that's not something I want to talk about, John. When asked if you've ever been here before, I've passed by it a couple times, but I've never been inside. When asked what's your favorite music, my mom would always listen to bossa nova, so I've grown to like it. When asked what are your interests, I'm really at home with a brush and a canvas. When asked what is something you could never live without, my painting. I think it just gives me energy. When asked what is something you could never live without, well, if the museum didn't sponsor me, I literally could not live here. When asked do you value family, a lot. Growing up as an only child made me very close to my mom. When asked what are your long-term goals, I would really like to get a permanent residency here in Germany. When asked, so what's your darkest secret? Oh, you'll have to find that out later. When asked, do you have any hobbies? I like to paint. When asked, do you sometimes feel like it's better to be alone? I think sometimes it's good to focus on yourself. Sure. All these responses painting a very clear picture. Applying the same logic that Sarah was seen in the previous mix of games, it should be clear to us that this is Sarah. If we now mix our final two, we should get 20 fishing summer days. But instead, we get this. Before once again crashing the computer. This clearly reminding us of I.exe, walking our now named dog, Nina, down a dark path that eventually ends at a bridge. It's almost beat for beat, except for the exchange at the beginning with what I'd assume is John and Sarah. After infusing these two, we're left with a stone, one that can fit into the pentagram. Now, if we infuse the Capture the Flag program with this stone, we get a new infused game to play. Running through this, the once familiar gorge is now infested with water, along with the map itself being busted. If we try to get the flag from the same spot it has always been in, we'll find a lake of water instead. Going back and to the right, we can find the flag sitting in a pool. If we try to capture it, we won't get anything. But going to the right of the flag, we can clip straight through the floor. After a few seconds, we land in an ocean underneath the map, with two things of note under the water. What looks like a giant serpent and a blue glowing box. So I obviously started heading in that direction. Getting closer to that serpent, I thought I recognized something, and I was reassured of my suspicions. That serpent we see is Sarah. She spotted me and killed me, so I had to go back and try to swim past it. And if we do, we can find ourselves right over the bright glowing box. So if we swim down to approach it, it grows in size and appears to be more the size of a room. And getting closer, we clip right through it into what looks like an office room. It asks us if we want to open the door, and if we open it, we end up here. A home. One that, if we apply the same logic from the previous games, is no doubt the home of John and Sarah. Once we start to walk around, we can find what looks like windows inside the home, and not the normal ones that allow us to peek outside. The first window giving us this dialogue. After that, we can proceed to walk through this open door. the message being a call out to someone, most likely John. And like that, the demo ends. And with the story of this game being wrapped up, I can finally talk about what I personally think happened throughout the story, and what I think the full release could be like. And now, I'm going to give you my comprehensive, full story of No Players Online, as it is right now. Okay, as of right now, I'm on page 24 of 28 of the script. 4 full pages dedicated to the story of this game. So, let's go through it. The earliest date we find is 1963, so let's start there. 1963. John Mullard is a German man and a researcher for the company by the name of Rheinisches Volksinstitut. This company seems to be a major corporation located in Europe, and according to some of the text found in 20 Days with Mindfriend, John works in a sector of the company that specializes in dangerous work. More specifically, he specializes in esoteric research. He starts working on his most important task, creating a program that can transfer and infuse the souls of different games. Starting in 1965, he starts to note down the progress between each new year of working on the project. The 4 sections of the notes labeled as Stones, Soul Essence, Capture the Flag Prototype, and End, each listing some of John's personal feelings towards the work that he's doing. Sometime between the years 1965 and 1968, John had met a woman by the name of Sarah. They had formed a relationship, and in the final year of the notes, he states that he will most likely have to stop his research because he's getting married sometime soon. And according to the photo that John has on the computer of him and his wife, dated 1968, it would seem that he quit his job doing esoteric research for Rheinisches. The next date of note is in 1971, where John and his wife are pictured in Bregenzerwald, Austria together, living a comfortable and happy life. Sarah had been a painter since she was young, and managed to turn it into a profession, painting many images dedicated to her husband John, painting the areas surrounding their house and the house itself. They also had owned a dog named Nina, but not everything had been right in this household. John seemingly spent every moment taking care of his wife. It's never explicitly stated how Sarah passed away, but to me, and through the subtext that we get, it implies to me that John had to take care of his wife because she could have had a lifelong or terminal illness towards the end of her life that, when they got married, eventually caught up to her and caused her to pass away. John and Sarah, while they lived together, had marriage issues. In the text that we find, Sarah talks to John saying, "How can we be married if you're upstairs and I'm downstairs all the time?" And I don't mean that literally, which implies that over the years they had grown distant. Sarah always wanted John to pursue what he had a passion in and what he enjoyed. And with the digital age coming to a front, he joined a forum online all about creating games on April 24th, 1971. Side note, the No Players Online universe seems to have gotten digital technology that was more widely available to people in the 90s and early 2000s in the 1970s, 25 years before our own first online communities. And continuing back to our timeline, for the next 2 years, John seemed to have made a game development startup by the name of Anyway, with a full team being there to support him, leading to the alpha version of John's Capture the Flag game, the one that we have played since the very beginning. In 1973, which when released was widely received as an overall good alpha test, leading to a small cult fan base of people. Unfortunately, sometime after the release of this alpha test, John's wife had passed away. Where the feedback form once was, now was instead a new message, telling us that all development had been ceased due to this death in the family. and therefore the feedback form had been closed. John, being distraught because of this death, had only one goal in mind now: to get his wife back. Needing to be able to see her again, John turned back to his previous research back in the 60s. Now, almost 20 years later, John had the thought, if he could harness the souls of games available to the public, would he be able to harness a human soul? The soul of his own wife, and so, while doing this, he hermited himself and proceeded trying to infuse the soul of his wife into the game he made. If he could do that, he might be able to contact her once again, and eventually, he got it. He had managed to infuse his wife into the game. Unfortunately, her soul seemed to be unrested. John, knowing that when he had infused games together, they seemed to have a mind of their own, and now with a human soul, Sarah had seemed to have spread to other places on this computer, infecting the entire PC. John had tried to contact her, and perhaps he got his satisfaction finding her once more, but this leads us to the part of the story where we, the player, comes in. In the original 2019 No Players Online, in the credits of the game, we can read that this is a 1986 video game production, placing it a firm 7 years before the second game's events, which seems to mean that the person we play as in the first game is a completely different person than the one we play as in the second game. The person we play as seems to have gotten access to this game through what I think could have been a previous Inuit LTD member who either let the operating system out of their hands or lost it and we managed to find it. Us being the person we play as in the first game. And if we go based on the date the game was released, that being April, this computer was logged into 6 months ago. That means the last potential date John had this computer was October of 1992, which could mean that John at this point could be anywhere from 50 to 60 years old. But that leaves us with a few gaps. How did we get this computer? Did John lose it? Did he give it away? To me, this is what I think could have happened. The player we play as is overall not related to the plot, only a vessel for us to observe the story. Who we are, specifically, isn't important. How we got this computer is. I don't think John would have ever given up this PC. He dedicated himself to trying to get his wife back for decades, and I don't think he would have suddenly had a change of heart. He dedicated himself to trying to get his wife back for years, and I don't think he would have suddenly had a change of heart. So I'd assume we found this PC. This computer is a home edition, which means we'd have had to either stolen it or broken into the home this PC is in. And to me, the PC being stolen seems more likely. Once we go onto this PC, we go through it, play a few games, and eventually are greeted by the only person active. One player online, who sends us the broken capture the flag in hopes of playing the game with another person. Once we open and play it, the PC crashes and has to reboot, which at that point, once it starts back up, letters start appearing on the screen telling us the password to John's account. Part of the name of John and Sarah's song, Blue and Sentimental. Once we put the password in, we can get access to the personal part of John's home PC. This eventually leading us to infuse the souls of 2 games that make a stone that we can infuse into John's game. That lead us to a call out from Sarah to find her, which is where, unfortunately, our story ends. For now, at least. Well, you made it to the end of the video, and by you, I'm talking to myself editing this right now. And this is where it ends, unfortunately. Page 28 of the script, which, if I'm being honest, I really never thought I'd get to while writing a script for a YouTube video, but I really hope that I can do this for lots of more topics that I really enjoy. And this story is something that I really enjoyed, learning all about it, and I'm more excited to get the final answers once the team at Beeswax Games release the finished product. Adam, Thibaut, and Victor all together made a wonderful experience that I hope more people start talking about. The story of a man trying so desperately just to achieve the one thing that we deep down all want to reach, feeling purpose, feeling wanted. That's what we all want. It's everyone's goal. And I'm so happy that I could explain this story in full. And if you are still around, please go check out the Steam page and wishlist the game. It's just an amazing achievement that this group of people can make something so incredible. And share this video so that more people know about and hear this story. Every video I talked about in this one will be in the description along with the link for the Steam page. And I would personally like to thank Adam, who I got in contact before writing this script. I do hope you see and enjoy this video. I really appreciate your kind words when replying to me. I thank everyone for watching this video, and I'll probably make one in a year. Bye.